Lesson 2.14 and 2.15. Dig down, identify your primary needs, 3 problem levels by Peter Gerlach. Lesson 2 of 7. Learn to communicate effectively. Break the cycle. As always, the link of this lesson is down below. Okay? This is one of the series of articles in Lesson 2, Ways to Improve Communication Effectiveness. Progress with this lesson depends on concurrent progress on Lesson 1 for your wise true self to guide you in calm and stressful times. You can also listen to all previous videos from this playlist, okay? Skipping the video. This article overviews the vital communication skills digging down below surface comforts to discern underlying primary needs. The article provides premises about needs and relationship problems, 4 levels of awareness about any relationship problem, 3 examples of digging down, tips to strengthen your dig down effectiveness and dig down practice exercise. This article assumes that you are familiar with the introduction to this non-profit website and the premises underlying it, self-improvement lesson 1 and 2, service and primary needs, and perspective on personal awareness. Why this article exists. I've studied and taught communication skills for over 40 years. This is Peter Gerlach speaking. As a therapist and teacher, I have witnessed hundreds of frustrated persons and couples not knowing how to satisfy their current personal social needs. For example, not knowing how to problem solve effectively. This is partially due to people being unaware of what I really need now, and what do you really need now, and who is responsible for fulfilling my and your respective needs. Overview of digging down skill. Digging down is making time in important situations to answer 3 questions above by asking a series of inner and verbal questions. The examples below illustrate these questions. As you ask and process the answers, up to 3 need levels may emerge. Level 1. Surface needs. Someone else is responsible for fulfilling my needs, like a child, my mate, a relative, co-worker, friend, professional society, and or the system. I need them to want to change. Level 2. The people and I are responsible for fulfilling my needs. And the below, this is level 3. I am responsible for fulfilling my needs. I may lack key knowledge, and my true self may have been disabled by my sub-selves, a false self, and I've been unaware of my false self wounds and their impacts. So to solve my problems, I must want to change, which means to learn, become aware, and my free self to retrain and harmonize my other personality sub-selves. Reaching level 3 awareness is hard because of A. Our ruling sub-self's great shame, guilt, distress, and fears, and B. Ancestral and social unawareness. Until we consistently want to reach and maintain level 3, our lives are full of recurrent problems, unmet primary needs, which we often blame other people for expecting to fix them. Wounded people can only achieve level 3 awareness if they accept they don't know what they need to know, and they want to study these topics with an open mind. Minimally wounded people may have 3 level awareness most of the time. Pause and reflect. Do these premises and levels make sense to you? Notice what your personality subcells are saying and feeling now. To make these abstract ideas more real, study these. 3. Dig down examples. These examples illustrate the several levels of needs, typical families, relationship situations. Page 2 builds on 3 illustrations to offer guidelines how to dig down effectively in most situations. Example 1. Resolving loyalty conflicts. Can you describe a loyalty conflict? They are common in all social groups. In families, they occur when an adult or child feels about choosing sides between 2 or more family members. They are step-family example based on many real-life stories I've heard. Stepfather Great finally had too much. He storms at his wife Meg. I'm so sick of your daughter ignoring me. I knock myself out of month after month, giving her school, paying her dentist, providing the roof over her head, and being pleasant. I say, "Hi, Jen." She grunts and walks by, no eye contact. What was your day? More grunts. She threatens our dog better than me. You don't seem to care. You make excuses for her and say sarcastic, "After all, Craig, you are supposed to be the adult here." Sounds familiar? This is divisive loyalty conflict bio-mom, Meg, torn between pleasing her husband, her own integrity, and her beloved daughter Jennifer, whose needs come first. Many typical families and groups experience conflicts like this. If mates can't admit and resolve them, their relationship erodes. What would digging down look like here? Surface problems. Level 1. Blaming others. Stepfather Craig, my daughter Jen is rude, selfish, and insensitive. After all I've done for her, that hurts. It's Jen's fault. And Meg sides with her daughter and values Jen's needs more than mine. And Meg wimpily denies this when I confront her. I need Meg to agree what is her fault, and she usually should support me, not Jen. Surface need. Biomom Meg. Craig is oversensitive and childish at times, and these expectations are unrealistic. I resent his criticizing Jen and implying that I am a bad mom. Fuzzy thinking and no unfilled needs are identified. I am confused, guilty, and torn between pleasing Craig and Jen. I love them both. If Craig really loved me, she would make me choose. I need him to accept that I stop complaining and criticizing Jen and me. Surface need. Underneath those are level 2 needs, blaming yourself and others. I need A, to feel genuinely heard, respected, and appreciated as a person, a husband, and a committed stepfather by Meg first and then Jen. And I need B, my wife, to validate these needs as a legitimate and important. These are my needs, and I don't see how to feel them by myself. I am scared and confused. If I side with Greg, I will betray Jen. After failing at my first marriage, I will violate my integrity. If I side with Jen, I'm scared Craig will start detaching from me. I need to find a way to balance things. This is my problem, not Craig's. I need genuine empathy, patience, understanding, love, and support. Underneath those are level 3 primary personal needs. I am doubting my worth and competent as a man, mate, and stepdad. I need reassurance from Meg and Jen that I'm okay. I feel guilty and embarrassed to admit that to myself or them. Real men aren't weak and needy, and I need to feel masculine, strong, worthy, and safe. And I am guilty and ashamed of feeling ashamed. I need a relief from this stress, for example, which means I need to do something, but I don't know what. I need hope that we can find a lasting solution here. That's the next side. Okay. I desperately need to feel competent as a woman, wife, and mother in order to feel safe, to feel like a worthy person. I am scared I'm doing something wrong here. Jen will be hurt even more, and I will be abandoned to die, lonely, unloved old woman. I need to feel safe and self-confident, and I don't. I also need to feel that Jen's safe enough now in the future. I'm scared, guilty, and ashamed to admit this to anyone. I need hope, and that this pain and confusion will go away soon. And I need a viable plan, but I haven't got one. I need help. 6 concurrent primary needs. And under those are 3 core problems. First, Craig is unaware of being ruled by a false self, a shamed boy, a perfectionist, an anxious boy, a guilty boy, a magician, reality distorter, an inner critic, blamer, an idealist, optimist, a doubter, a stoic, a rager, a thinker, analyzer, and a tireless overachiever. These scrabbling sub-selves distrust, ignore Craig's true self, capital S, and are unaware of this and make sub-selves wounds and unawareness. Implication: Craig's deepest level 4 need is to learn and accept that he must want to harmonize his personality sub-selves under the leadership of his true self. Like most wounded people, Craig is not aware that A, is this need and its implications, B, his options of freeing himself and reducing his wounds, and C, Meg's similar need. 2. Meg is unaware of usually being controlled by a well-intentioned false self, a shamed girl, a catastrophizer, a terrified girl, a good mom, a stern inner judge, a number, a good addict, a magician, reality distorter, a good girl, and a diligent people pleaser. These dynamic sub-selves distrust or don't know her true self, and aren't aware of her and Craig's being wounded and ignorant, uninformed, and unaware. Meg's core needs are to A. Learn and accept the benefits of empowering her resident self, capital S, and then to B. Meet and patiently harmonize her personality sub-selves under the guidance of her and higher power. However, she hasn't hit true bottom and she is not aware of this and her Craig's equivalent needs so far. And 3. Ignorance. Craig and Meg don't know about these 5 hazards and value the working together of these self-improvement lessons and guard themselves, their marriage, and their descendants against the wounds and unawareness cycle and its toxic effects. The lesson 2 communication basics and skills, including how to dig down and identify their mix of primary needs above. This is typical of most family adults. A major implication is that their odds for effective problem solving, feeling their primary needs, are low. Another implication is that unless these mates learn to apply, model, and teach these skills, their valuable kids will grow up unaware, wounded, and unskilled too. This is not a complete description because it doesn't include the daughter's needs levels. To glimpse untypical first suffers in step-family loyalty conflicts, see this. Stepdaughter Jen is probably overwhelmed by all of this, rather than rude. She has her own complex set of service and underlying primary problems. Her emerging personality is probably controlled by a false self also, at least around her stepdad Craig. Neither Meg, Craig, or Jen's by her father Philip are aware of this, nor are any friends or supporters so far. For more perspective and options on avoiding and resolving typical loyalty conflicts, see this and this after finishing this article. Pause, breathe, and reflect. Have you ever seen relationship problems analyzed like this? Does this 4-layer needs seem realistic to you? If not, why? What are your inner voices saying? Who among your sub-selves is speaking? Is it your true self? What might happen if you tried identifying the need levels in your key relationships now? The next 2 examples illustrate digging down to identify the primary needs causing surface marital conflicts over troublesome ex-mate and over money. Though details in these examples may differ from your situation, look for common themes. Note that these examples are simplified to illustrate the process and value of digging down. In real life, each adult and child is your family as a web of concurrent surface conflicts and underlying primary needs which shape their kaleidoscope of perceptions, feelings, and behaviors. Example 2. Digging down with typical ex-mate conflicts. It's widely estimated that almost half of modern American families divorce legally. Millions more divorce psychologically and stop short for calling attorneys. Among typical divorces families and step-families, the variations of awful ex-mate conflicts are innumerable. There is an example of typical surface problems and the unfulfilled primary needs causing them. Mark divorced Cherry and remarried Susan, a divorced custody mother of a preteen Marilyn. Mark's 2 preteen sons live with their bio mom Sherry and sleep over at their other home every other weekend. The legal phase of Mark and Sherry's divorce was messy, bitter, expensive, and took forever. Susan has grown resentful and frustrated over 3 years of endless intrusions and problems that Sherry persists in causing her and Mark. Sue is trying to learn her aligned new stepmother role, and it is finding that raising boys part-time is a lot different than mothering Marilyn. Sue and Mark have never accepted their stepfamily identity or read about discussed being a stepfamily. For brevity, this example omits a column for Sherry's surface problems and underlying primary needs. Each person in a typical multi-home divorcing family or stepfamily has their own column involving and interacting with each other. Need level 1. The ex-mate is the problem. Stepmom Susan. Sherry is unreliable, rude, selfish, intrusive, vindictive, and mediocre. Inconsistent mother. She treats her sons, father Mark, like dirt and poisons their sons' minds against him and me. Then she denies doing that and blames us. She causes most of our problems. I'm getting irritated and Mark keeps giving and letting her dictate our lives. No unfulfilled needs defined. Bio father Mark. Sherry is impossible to reason with. She is irritated about the divorce and now claims I left her. She's so moody, erratic, and volatile. I'm scared for my sons, Kevin and Brian, mental health. But if I went for custody, she would fight mean and dirty and seek endless revenge. Sherry is the biggest problem, so I have. No unfulfilled needs defined. Underneath those level 2A problems, each mate blames the other ex-mate. Stepmom Susan, I'm getting real tired of Mark's not listening to, not agreeing with me and making excuses for Cherry, giving to her. and putting off confronting her. She's repeatedly said he would. I'm starting to lose patience and respect for him. I need him to want to confront Sherry. My trust in Mark's promises and resolve is slipping too. He is not committed to enforcing our home marital boundaries. What else is he going to cave in on? This is what I signed for. Mark and Sherry are the problem, and I need him to admit and fix it. Bio Father Mark, I am getting pretty fed up and feeling I'm not supposed to solve everything here, and Sue thinking I'm a wimp for not being Attila the Hun with Sherry. I can't help if Sherry is a mental case. I feel caught between two lionesses. Sue just doesn't understand how impossible it is to get through Cherry, and she doesn't want to talk to Cherry directly. I need Sue to see the good things we have, easy up, and just accept that it is how it's going to be for now. It will get better as the boys get older. I need Sue to be patient and adapt, and Cherry to get healthy and sane. Underneath those two are level B problems. Level 2B problems. Partners start focusing on their own feelings, doubts, and needs. Step 1, Susan. I feel guilty and ashamed that I can't be more loving and patient with Mark, and more forgiving of Sharon. Is there something wrong with me? I don't like who I am becoming. I feel less and less safe, and this mess with Sherry and the boys keeping grinding on us implied needs feel less guilty, shame, and self-doubt, and more secure. I need to feel real hope and confidence and to have some plan to make things happen better for us. I feel I'm being a bad mom and stepmom somehow. I can't seem to stay clear on what I need. My mind keeps jumping around and we go nowhere. I'm scared I made a wrong choice marrying Mark. Cherry and other boys, maybe I'm the problem. Implied need, clear, focused thinking. Bill, Father Mark, I need to stop the battle inside of me and make a clear plan. Part of me wants to get tough and enforce limits with Cherry, and another part is unwilling to. Part of me wants to confront Cherry and to please Sue, and another part says, that's the wrong reason. Part of me wants to run away, and part of me is afraid to. Man, I hate this. I've never expected any of this. Conflict and confusion. When I married Sue, why didn't I see this coming? I feel really torn between what's the best for the boys and what's the best for Sue and me. Part of me believes that it will all work out, and another part of me fears we will divorce. I need to sort of all these battles out and find a way to resolve them. I wish we need to have someone understood how I feel. I don't think Sue does. And below those are level 3 unfulfilled primary needs. Step 1, Susan. I need daily emotional serenity, mental clarity, focus and direction, self-respect as a woman, a wife and child caregiver, self-confidence, and I need to feel truly heard, empathized with, and accepted and loved by Mark and the caring higher power. I deeply need to express and manifest the love I feel for Marilyn, Mark, and others, and to love myself. Be a father, Mark. I need to feel A. Inner peace and contentment, freedom from guilt, shame, confusion, and anxiety. B. Like a worthy person, man, husband, and father. C. Potent and competent. D. Clear on the purpose and direction of my life. And I need to feel E. Confident that I'm growing wiser, stronger, and clear. I also need to feel companioned by Sue as I feel these needs. I need to feel the emptiness I've felt in my whole life. I need to feel the emptiness I felt my whole life. And below those are 3 root causes of Sue and Mark's surface ex-mate problems. Steps, Mom Susan. 1. Susan is unaware of being ruled by a false self, combination of a guilty girl, a people pleaser, and abandoned girl, a scared girl, a shamed girl, a magician, reality distorted, a inner critic, a judge, a bitch, a distractor, a nurturer, and an exercise adult. These well-meaning sub-selves usually don't trust Sue's true self and aren't aware of her marks and Sherry's knowledge deficits and psychological needs. And 2, Bio Father Mark is also unaware of being usually controlled by a group of sub-selves, the shame boy, a guilty boy, an orphan, lonely sad boy, an analyzer, a thinker, a good dad, an inner critic, a warrior, a procrastinator, a loner, a fugitive, a magician, reality distorter, a pleaser, a good boy. Mark's sub-self destruct his true self, wisdom, aren't aware of this. Sue and Sherry's being wounded, unaware, and uninformed. And 3 and Sue are each A. Ignorant of the wounds and unawareness cycle and its toxic effects of lesson 1 through 4, and they are B. each unaware of their ignorance, lack of knowledge, not stupidity, of their personal joint options. Neither partners know what you are reading about here. Ex-wife Cherry is a wounded childhood trauma survivor in a protective denial. She is controlled by a reactive group of personality subsets, and it is unaware of A. that, and B. Susan Mark similar conditions, and C. these lessons and options. None of the friends, relatives, and the two therapists trying to support this couple and family know of any of this. Neither do the kids involved. They don't know what they don't know, and they aren't motivated to learning it. That limits their tries and problem solving to blaming, arguing, and making superficial changes. Pause, breathe, and reflect. What are you aware of now? Does this second digging down example remind you of anyone? In this example above, note that shift on focus as you dig down. On the surface, level 1. Mark and Sue see Sherry's traits and behaviors as the problem, and this safest level of perception of their behaviors, and send this ex-wife critical messages which imply we are okay, one up, and you are a bad person, woman, and a mother, one down. An awareness of this disrespectful attitude guarantees escalating fights and avoidances and makes effective problem solving impossible. The couple focuses on trying to change Sherry. That evokes semi-conscious shame, guilt, hurt, frustration in her, and her protective false self responds by counter-blaming Sue and Mark, and escalating her hostile behaviors lose. Mark and Sue, two sons, are caught up in stressful concurrent loyalty conflicts and relationship triangles, until all three adults acknowledge their identity as normal nuclear step-family and what it means. They are not likely to admit this or seek cooperative solutions. Digging down to level 2 reveals Sue and Mark each thinking, Sherry and my mate are causing my problems, neither to co-parent is thinking about needs, unable to communicate and problem solve effectively. Mark and Sue each feel increasingly blamed and misunderstood by the offer, which promotes rising mutual distrust and disrespect, hurt, frustration, and anger. The couple fears facing this scary reality and doesn't know how to talk together about it safely in teammates versus opponents. Their rift increases over time as they blame Cherry and each other and ignore how they're trying to deal with this complex marital stressor without awareness and knowledge. They are at the risk of unconsciously growing a toxic self-amplifying blame, explain, defend, counter-blame cycle over time, the roots of psychological and legal re-divorce. Digging further in the third layer of needs discloses some well-camouflaged conflicts within Sue and Mark. These are too scary to admit because of powerful old false self-shame, guilt, and excessive fears. For example, I will never deserve to get the love I need. Shame child. I will never be able to be a competent parent and mate. Cynic, doubter, and perfectionist subselves. So I will ultimately have to live and die alone. Abandoned child and catastrophizing. There is nothing I can do to prevent this. I am totally helpless. Victim, martyr, and subset. Sue's version is I feel powerless and I can only pray to God to help me heal. Mark lacks the spirit to face awareness and experience to do this part of his emptiness. Layer 3 awareness is hard because it requires each person, for example you, to accept full responsibility for fulfilling their own needs rather than expecting others to want to do so as we are young. The fourth deepest layer of needs is usually the hardest to discover because each partner lacks the knowledge and vocabulary to define these needs, and their friends, society, family, professionals, and media are also ignorant and unaware. Because you are reading these articles, you are among of the few you are gaining the knowledge to identify and fill these deep primary needs. Pause to digest what you just experienced. Reflect on what this dig down concept could mean in your relationships. What level are you important and adults usually focused on? 3 examples of digging down. Continue. Example 3. Digging down with money conflicts. Have you ever disagreed with someone over finances and debts? Remarried for 4 years, Mara and Manuel can't seem to find a middle ground about a group of money problems. Need level 1 and 2. Each mate feels the problem is their partners and many ex-mate Anita. Both partners grip and fight but don't problem solve. Bio together. Bio father Manuel. Manny. Mara insists on spending too much money on things we don't need. I can't afford. She's really shopaholic. Periodically she starts World War III because I forget to tell her of getting an ATM cash. Then she nags me to do something because my ex-wife Anita hassles me about being a day late with sending child support. And Mara constantly bitches at Anna for spending the child support on Gucci boots and bags instead of kids' clothes and cereal. Somehow, I'm supposed to fix that. And Mara's after me to make a will. We are healthy and under 40, so why pay some lawyer and an arm and a leg until we are older? And she also rags me about putting her name on my house and the car title. She doesn't hear my side of it. Oh, and we are both agreed that Anita should split the premium for the kids' dental insurance, but my ex just whines and plays poor me. No unmet needs identified here. Stepmom Meyer, I need to find a new way to talk to, problem solve with many. Anytime something about money comes up, we both get frustrated and angry. I expect him not to hear me, gets defensive or whiny, or surly, or to run away. I am mad before I even open my mouth. I know that's not fair to him, but I can't find a way not to do that. I realize I'm feeling out of control and unsafe here. I need more control and security. I also realize I'm starting to distrust man's judgment, at least about the practical things. I hate to say it, but I'm losing the respect for him, and at times for myself. I need to reverse that. Underneath of those are their personal surface needs level 3A. Be a father manual, Manny. I need to feel genuinely heard, respected, and appreciated as a man, a husband, and a competent father. By Mary first, then Anita. I also need to feel my wife is my partner, not a nag, critic, or an opponent. I would feel a lot better if I felt on top of this mess. Fuzzy thinking. At times, I just feel overwhelmed. Was I wrong to pick Mara? Am I? I'm beginning to worry that this marriage isn't going to work, but either I would be a two-time loser. I need to stop bad-mouthing Mara and my ex after I've had a few drinks. That feels lousy. Manny doesn't appreciate having fine things at home. We grew up poor and has to hoard money. We both work, there is enough. It drives me nuts that he hands over his check, wants me to pay the bills, and then won't help me even check book balance. My biggest aggravation is about the child support. To keep the peace with his teeny Buddha hacks, Manuel agreed to pay way more than the state guidelines. Then he accuses me of spending money we don't have. And I seem to have married an ex-wife who is about 15 max. And she wants us to pay for her, which she can't pay, flirt and party while her kids go to school in rags. It's a crime, and Manny just shrugs. At times I think I married a big kid, not a man. Despite of his macho talk, he won't draw the line with Anita. So I have to do it, and I'm getting tired. I won't say I do to Anita. No unmet needs mutually identified, so no problem solving can't happen. And other those are their personal primary needs, level 3B. I need to lower my guilt and remain my self-control, self-confidence, and self-respect. I also need an effective plan as to how Mara and I are going to stop fighting and start problem solving together. And I need us both to agree to stop focusing on the past, blaming each other and name calling and complaining, and focusing on solving one problem at a time together. I need Myra. I need to learn how to control my expectations and temper with money, at least on money issues, and I need to find a way to feel more secure, safer in this family. I must admit I'm scared myself. I need to find a new way of looking at all these problems so Manny and I can start solving them. And I need to regain my senses of self-confidence, and I hope too that these conflicts are going to dwindle. I need to stop worrying about this all the time. And under these are three core problems promoting Mara's and Manny's surface money problems. Be your father, Manuel, Manny. 1. Manny is unaware of being ruled by a false self, and a sad orphan boy, an actions boy, a guilty boy, a philosopher, a magician, a reality distorter, a inner critic, blamer, a weasel, a salesman, a doubter, a macho man, a rager, a friendly guy, a thinker, an analyzer, and a chiva driver. These sub-selves distrust Manuel's true self and aren't aware of him. Anita and Mara being wounded, ignorant, and unaware, and stepmom Mara. 2. Myra isn't aware of being controlled by a false self, a shamed girl, a scared girl, a catastrophizer, a party girl, an inner critic and a warrior, a pessimist, a jealous one, an idealist and or perfectionist, a magician and a complainer. Some of these subselves don't know that Myra's true self. Others don't trust herself as a competent leader. All subselves are unaware of Myra, Anita, and Manny being psychologically wounded, uninformed, and unaware. And 3. Manuel and Myra aren't aware of these online lessons, their ignorance, and their personal enjoyed healing communication options. Ex-wife Anita and her own complex set of surface and underlying primary needs. Like the other adults, her personality is controlled by a group of subselves. Neither Myra, Manuel, Anita, or their friends, marriage counselor, or relatives are aware of this article on solving money problems. Again, pause and note your reactions of these examples and of digging down. How does yourself feel about these ideas and what they might mean in your life and family? The common problem-solving pattern. There are common themes to these examples which may occur in the family in the way your family members try to resolve personal and mutual problems or fulfill needs. These themes include 1. Partners aren't aware of being often dominated by a false self and the difference between surface needs and primary needs and what they and other family members really need and their communication process, and these 4 unaware, so they focus endlessly on their surface conflicts just their childhood caregivers and members probably did. Another theme is 2. Each other partner blames and resents one or more other people for their problems, unmet needs, instead of digging down to learn what they really need and taking responsibility for filling their own needs. And 3. They argue, fight, explain, deny, debate, blame, defocus, withdraw, and then digging down and doing the win-win problem solving together as mutual respectful partners. Each adult is unaware of their own well-meaning false self keep them focused on surface conflicts, instead on their deepest level 4 needs to free their true self to lead their other problem sub-selves personalities. Help other adults and kids to do the same without taking responsibility for other adults, and partners to become skilled and effective internal and interpersonal problem solving, for example at discerning and being feeling primary needs. Other common dynamics and how typical adults try to problem solve are 4. People's false selves and use other adults and kids as weapons, messengers, pawns or supporters in the adult surface battles. 1. Family result-dependent kids are growing up in a null-nurturous environment or caregivers, distrust, disrespect, guilt, frustration, repression, and anger. That promotes kids develop then 1 psychological wounds a day at a time. No one is aware of this happening. And 5. Most all family members and supporters are unaware of these communication processes, themes, and what to do about them. This significantly hampers their ability to problem solve effectively together, to stress accumulate as their primary needs need to go unfilled. This is probably a major reason for US divorce epidemic, trouble kills, and other major personal and social problems. Does this outline make sense to you? If so, how can you and your communication partners avoid trying fruitless to solve surface problems like endlessly clipping off weed tops versus pulling off their roots? Enduring these risks, A. Reducing your relationship harmony and family nurturing level, and B. Unintentionally wounding any dependent kids. Dig down tips. Scan all these options and imagine trying them. Then note your reaction. If it is interested in enthusiasm and committed to your true self, capital S, is probably guiding you. If not, someone else may be controlling your thoughts and decisions. Don't try digging down unless your true self clearly guiding you. When he or she isn't practice setting him or her free for other sub-selves. Lesson 1 here. And lower your expectations. The biggest blocks of effective thinking and communication are psychological wounds and ignorance of communication basics and skills. Committing to patient work in lesson 1 and 2 will reduce both blocks over time. Are you committed to do that yet? And are your family adults? And now, are your other family adults? Tip 3. Check your attitudes. If you are taught that being needy is weak or childish, then Change that to normal and inevitable. Needs are simply emotional, physical, and spiritual discomforts. If other people criticize you for focusing on needs, then tell me that all human behavior, including theirs, comes from trying to reduce daily discomfort's needs. If you don't generally feel your and current non-emergency needs are equally important to me, suspect that the false self rules you, and lower your expectations. If you aren't taught your rights as unique, dignified person, involve a bill like this sample and use it to validate and assert your needs. Other adults and kids have exactly the same rights. 4. Learn to discern and name your emotions and see them all as useful pointers to your current needs. Distinguish between feeling emotions and expressing them. 5. Stay aware that most needs come in layers. Surface, intermediate, primary, and feeling surface needs means they will often return until you feel the primary needs that caused them. Recall, these are tips for digging down effectively. Tip 6. Edit these common primary needs to suit your values and experience and refer to them when you dig down. I need to feel inherently worthy, lovable and loved, accepted and respected by key people, free to make personal life decisions, free to assert personal opinions and needs and be heard, free to develop personal spirituality, freedom to learn and grow, free to seek, evaluate and accept help, free to learn about and enjoy the world, safe from pain, loss and overwhelm, competent and confident at life tasks, realistic hope for filling key needs, aware of current needs and feelings, free to seek, receive and give love, free to feel current physical needs, including sensual pleasure and release, free to conceive and nurture kids, free to balance work, play and rest, free to choose and how to use time, talents and personal energy, free to explore and create. Stay aware that in every situation, you and other people's primary needs, discomforts come from your body and your dominant subselves. Tip 7. Practice identifying and comparing your and other people's communication needs. To feel respected by yourself and your partner, a constant and one or more of these. To give and to get information. To vent, to be heard and accepted. To cause action or change, and to avoid something unpleasant like boredom and self-awareness. 8. View problems and conflicts as being unfilled primary needs among your and other people's subselves. Apply this multi-level hierarchy of problem perceptions to help dig down with any significant conflict among your subselves and with kids and other adults. Level 1. Surface problems, blame someone else for your current problems and expect them to fill your needs. Level 2. Blame yourself and other people for causing your problems. Level 3. Take full responsibility for filling your own daily needs. It is important, in important situations, dig down below surface needs to discern what you and any partner really need, and help each other brainstorm to fill your respective primary needs well enough as teammates. Level 4. Many needs ultimately come from false self-dominance and unaware of key information. Every able adult like you is responsible for freeing their sub-self and gaining awareness and knowledge over time. Dig down. Tip 9. Important or focusing situations, try to identify the personality sub-selves who are creating your needs. Sort and prioritize them. Identify what your true self needs. 10. Distinguish what you need from what other people say you need. Tip 11. Don't overindulge your sub-selves need to be nice and kind. Respectfully give other able adults the responsibility for filling their own primary needs without guilt or shame. Be aware of compulsive helping and rescuing, enabling able people in non-emergency, and accept that sometimes compassionately not helping is the best aid you can provide. 12. When you are conflicted, experiment with this technique once your emotion level is below the ears and you can listen. Ask yourself and your conflict partner, what do you need right now? Trust the first response and then ask, okay, what do you need? Or ask, what do you need and now and in order to? Or if you don't get that need filled, what might happen? And if that bad thing happened, what would that mean to you? Repeat this sequence non-judgmentally with each and answers that happens. Expect some anxiety and confusion when people first try to digging down they often reach a point where the answer is, I don't know what I need or feel. Practicing breath awareness and meditation and listening to your self-talk usually improves that. Dig down tip 13. Help each other to use some of the new problem-solving terms and phrases. In addition and to learning these meta-talk concepts and terms, experiment with phrases like this together. What do you need from me now? Then use empathetic listening to see if you heard clearly. What I need from you now is, I'm not clear or what you need from me now. So you need to, hearing check. I'm not sure you understand what I need from you now. Who do you feel is responsible for fulfilling your needs? That feels like a surface need to me. Let's do some digging. I think we are focusing on surface problems and needs. I need you to help me to dig down to level 3. See tip 8 above. Wow, I sense that you are okay on different problem perception levels. Let's check to see if our true selves are disabled, okay? Which of your sub-selves needs to feel heard or whatever now? I feel like we are struggling here. Let's see if your communication needs are mine match. Okay, what do you need from me as we are talking right now besides respect? You and the key people in your life probably aren't used to using phrases and questions like this to help each other to fill your relationship needs. What might happen if you experimented with phrases like these with important adults and kids? Tip 14. Use your deep down results primary needs as input to win-win problem solving. These deep down tips complement other to improve communication effectiveness as you explore and learn together. Enjoy modeling and new learning for your kids, teaching them effective communication and problem solving basics. A priceless lifelong gift. Reality check. See where you stand with these ideas. A. I agree. D. I disagree. Question mark. I'm not sure. It depends on what. My true self is answering these questions. If not, I know which sub-selves are answering. I can clearly explain and illustrate the concept of surface needs and underlining primary list or high school freshman now. I accept that every able adult is responsible for identifying and filling their own primary needs. I accept that adults and kids communicate to feel satisfied their primary needs. I can clearly define what effective communication is. I can explain the concept of digging down through the 3 or 4 levels of perception to a typical early teen. I am motivated to A. Forge my own list of primary human needs now, and B. Try digging down with various people and situations to see if my list helps to identify primary needs. I'm interested in alerting other adults to effective communication basics and skills, and I am teaching them to young people in my life. Learning to think and communicate effectively is among my top life priorities now. Pause and reflect. What did you just learn about yourself? Experience is the best teacher. So, put these ideas to work now with this skill practice when you can. A deep down practice experience. Get the most from this skill practice by doing these preparations. Option. Find a partner who shares your interest and provides in improving your communication effectiveness and is willing to practice some skills with you. Whether you practice alone or with a partner, do the following. Both of you read and discuss this introduction of effective communication, including a summary of 7 valuable skills and motivated a person can learn. Invest some time practicing in communication, awareness, and empathetic listening together. You will use these skills in this practice. Review this article on giving effective feedback to other people and experiment with doing so during the practice. Test your understanding of dig down concept by explaining it to an adult or other child who has never heard of it. Ask the person to say back to their understanding of the concept to see if they got it. Find an undistracted place and time period, say 30 minutes or more, and bring something to take notes with. Each of you decide whether your true self is guiding you or another sub-self. If not, estimate who is guiding. A false self. Option. Have an inner dialogue with any sub-self who is disabling yourself, capital S, and ask that they relax and allow yourself to do learning exercise. If either of you is skeptical about personality sub-selves, read this letter when you are not distracted. You can practice digging down. 2 practice options. You can practice digging down by yourself, focus on several recent needs you experience, and dig down below them a practice partner, or with a partner. Each of you focus on a recent interaction between yourself and another person, and help the other dig down and guess estimate the primary needs of each other involved. Read all these steps below first and tailor them to fit your levels of knowledge and your needs. The goal of this practice is to gain experience and identify typical primary needs underneath the surface problems. Stay aware that problems are unfulfilled needs and that identifying your primary needs is the first step in effective problem solving. Solo practice. You can do this by yourself or with a helper. If you use a helper, his or her role is to ask you the questions below and possibly affirm your answers with hearing checks, not to comment or suggest solutions. Helpers can also practice awareness and non-judgmentally notice and report to behavioral responses and dig down processes. Recall a recent comment and special personal need problem is that's had some urgency. Pick one that you are comfortable describing on your practice partner, if any. Examples: I needed to call a plumber, go grocery shopping, call someone, make a dental appointment, plan a trip, research something, figure out how to blank, confront someone about something, update will, etc. Say your need or problem out loud, if no in no more than one sentence. Finish this sentence: I need to blank because. Option: your helper can ask you, why did you need blank? Example: I need to call my dentist for an appointment. Ask this question with the answer you got. Why did you need to call for an appointment? Because I haven't had a checkup in almost a year. Coach yourself not to compute, assume, edit, judge the answer. Just accept the first response that occurs to you. Repeat this question with the answer you got. Why did you need a dental checkup? Because I'm worried I might get some cavities or gum disease. Repeat this question with the answer you got. Why are you concerned about cavities and gum disease? Because I don't want to get sick, lose any teeth, or have major oral pain, or incur major dental expenses later. Repeat this question with each of these answers if you need to. Why did you want to avoid major dental expenses? Because I don't want to have dental insurance or any savings. Repeat this question and with the answer you got. Why do you need dental insurance or financial savings? Because I need to feel financially secure. Repeat this question with the answer you got. Why do you need to feel financially secure? Because I'm afraid I won't be able to provide for the kids and they will suffer. And so on. When you feel you are dug down far enough, sum up what you discovered. So my primary need is an effective financial plan to reduce my anxiety about my kids' welfare. Making a dental appointment is a surface need, and at this point in our outside practice, you can shift into problem solving. For example, what's the way of making an effective financial plan? At any change of this process, you may get, I don't know why I need that. If so, ask something like, what might happen if you don't get blank? Another option is to recheck whether yourself, capital S, is still guiding your sub-selves. If not, consider options like this and retry the question. Option: after this practice, compare this dig-down process of what you normally would do with filling common needs, resolving problems. Does this make sense to you? That without digging down in important, not all situations, your primary needs will remain unfilled and probably cause more surface problems, discomforts. Reciprocal two-person practice. The goal here is to objectively identify each person's current needs to fill, to facilitate effective problem solving. Option: affirm that each person's current needs, rights, and dignity were of equal importance in this situation. If you don't feel this, suspect that the false self was controlling your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. 1. Pick a recent non-emergency interaction you had with an important adult or child that you want to practice digging down with. The situation can be any kind of problem by your definition. Choose a moderate problem you are comfortable discussing with your practice partner and describe some of all the interactions with him or her. Your partner will do the same after you finish digging down the situation. 2. Be yourself, and your partner will role-play the other person in your chosen situation. If he or she needs more information about who is she role-playing, ask your partner something like, so what do you need from me right now? Your partner responds with something appropriate from your problem-solving description like, I need you to stop smoking, gambling, using pornography, coming home so late, being rude to my sister, etc. 4. Use the same repetitive questioning as in solo practice above, optionally affirming what you hear each time with brief hearing checks. Do this until you feel you have uncovered all the person's primary needs. Here can be more than one that cause the service need. 5. Now you have your partner help you to dig down below your surface needs in the two-person situation. 6. When you feel you have discovered both persons' primary needs, then your practice partner should ask things like, whose needs did you each give priority to in this situation? The best answer is, we have treated each other's needs as equally important. What communication needs did each of you have in these situations? Did they match or clash? Where were each of you focused during this situation? For example, what kind of awareness bubbles did you each create? One person, two people, no person. Did you each try to identify what the other person needed in this situation? Did each of you get your primary needs met well enough? If not, why? This is not an invitation to blame, but to discover factually what prevented feeling your needs. If you could redo this situation, what could you change and why? What did you just learn from this practice? Ask anything else, it seems useful. 7. When you feel done digging down with both people in your situation, take a break if you need it, and then repeat this process with practice partners of two people's situation. 8. Discuss how the practice felt to you each, and what you learned. Would you do anything differently? The next practice. Next, while your practice is fresh in mind, try digging down for real. Coach yourself to remember that needs are normal and inevitable emotional, physical, and or spiritual discomforts. Whether pleasant or not, all emotions are helpful indicators of current needs. They are no negative emotions, they are harmful ways of expressing some emotions. All personal and social problems are fulfilled surface and or primary needs. Personally, sub-selves have suffers and primary needs just like people. Communication, including thinking, occurs automatically to fill current needs. Reduce current discomforts. Communication is the most effective when all participants A. regard their and the other's needs as being equally valid and important, and B. want to know what they are. Anyone like you can learn to communicate more effectively with study, patience, and practice. Try practicing awareness, empathetic listening, assertion, meta-talk, and problem-solving with several different partners. Option. As you do, keep a notebook or journal to record your learnings to affirm your progress. Awareness notes. Recap. This article proposes that typical adults and other kids have major problem-solving relationship problems partially because you, focus on service needs, discomforts, rather than in the primary needs that have caused the problems. This article offers 3 examples of digging down through the several levels of relationship needs. This page builds on these examples and outlines common themes that are true of most internal and social relationship conflicts. This article closes with the 14 dig-down tips of a reality check and 2 options for practicing this powerful communication or relationship skill. Is there anyone else you want to show or discuss the concepts of primary needs and digging down with? Learn something about yourself with this one anonymous one-question poem. Pause, read, and reflect. What did you read? Why did you read this article? Did you get what you needed? If not, what do you need? Who's answering these questions? Your true self or somebody else? Thank you very much for listening to me. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the bell button, share the video on the social medias. For consultation and donations, there is the email down below. And I also invite you to check the other playlists that I have in topics of to get to the highest best self. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.